What you are listening to now is the Central Indiana Sports Report podcast number 333.2, the Major League Baseball report with Codey Emerson, Uncle Paul Tipton. In this week's MLB report, Codey and Paul and I recap the All-Star games coming into the game and look ahead to some of the top storylines of the second half of the season.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
And the MLB report with Codey Emerson and Paul Tipton. It's been almost a week since the All-Star game. We previewed it last week. I don't think any of us predicted that. Let's start with Uncle Paul this week because he's the historian, the traditionalist. Thoughts on the way the All-Star game ended, Paul?
I don't want to be the crotchety old guy, but I have to say, after the American League tied it in the ninth inning, the announcers weren't ready, and I was not ready for the home run derby that I intentionally missed the night before.
Exactly. Exactly right, Paul.
It was something. I guess this might be the one scenario in which I've never been a fan of the Ghost Runner rule, but it's the All-Star game. I mean, maybe you do that. I'm just not a fan of the home run derby to kind of end it. I mean,
Look, guys, have a pitcher designated for the 10th inning, have a pitcher designated for the 11th inning, have a pitcher designated for the 12th inning, and if there's a tie after 12 innings, then maybe we do a home run derby. But
yeah,
after
not after
9
9.
innings, what
Yeah.
in the world? Let's figure out a better solution than this.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. It's now granted, I mean, Kyle Schwarber it's nice that the National League kind of had him in the game at that time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Obviously. That is the one rule that I did not like, though. You should be able to have whoever the heck you want. Now, the rumor is that, or rumor,
Yeah,
whatever,
the
might
best
be
players
strong.
were gone.
Yeah, like Aaron Judge and those guys had already left pretty much. So I guess that's kind of, you wouldn't have really had Aaron Judges versus Ohtani and.
The whole thing, Paul, signifies that they just don't care about this game anymore, right?
Bingo!
My takeaway was that none of the players, nobody really cares about this game anymore. By the way, by far the most important all-star game of any sport.
Yes.
And that's no longer the case anymore.
It has devolved into the football and hockey
Yes.
and basketball.
Correct. Not basketball.
still think,
that one's a debauchery.
yeah, I still think it's, as far as it's fallen, I still think it's up there with one of the better one of, if not the best All-Star
It's the
game
best
out there.
all-star game still.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
All the
not saying much.
No, it's not, with how far the All-Star games and all across major sports have just fallen off a cliff.
That was it was kind of sad after all the years of great all-star games that really mattered in my childhood to watch a game end like that. It was kind of cool in a way, I guess. Watching Kyle Schwarber do what he did was pretty cool in a way, but I just didn't like it at all. I was not a fan.
I was always, why I loved the MLB All-Star game, even as a kid growing up. Like, I can't remember exactly the year they took it out. Could go back and look at it. But the winner got home field or
bad,
whatever.
too. They
Doesn't
tried to
matter as
make it
much in
important doing
baseball.
that too. How about it just used to matter, right? It just
I don't think it matters as much in baseball, but still, is like it would maybe basketball or football or something like that. But at least it meant something, and you were playing for something. And now it's just
Paul,
whatever.
they were always playing for something. They were always playing for which league was better. It really meant something when you were They didn't need a home field. They didn't need anything like that. The game just meant something. I just don't understand how they let it get to this.
I guess it was the one year where they declared the tie, which makes this the second worst All-Star game in my opinion, because not only did they end in a tie, but then it ushered in the we don't care about home field advantage or any other stakes.
No stakes.
Well, what's killed it for me is where you're getting angry, and I get teams aren't kind of looking like, oh yeah, well let's rest this guy so he gets to pitch in the All Star game. It's you're getting down to you have your original roster, and then it's like half of it's changed because of replacements, guys, I guess, not choosing to play or opting out or things like that, or they are battling an injury or something like that. It's you have your roster, and then said half of it's thrown out the window with replacements and third and fourth replacements. It's kind of you really don't get to see the true stars of the game, well, at least all of them.
Maybe it's just us. Maybe we're just fuddy duddies. People seem to like it.
I will say, as far as baseball goes, I am, even though I'm youngin, I am a very much, I believe, have like an old school mentality when it comes to baseball. Just how
You
I see
should.
things.
It's an old school game.
If it was working for so long, and now we're just trying to change it left and right, and it's really not that exciting anymore.
Let's talk about second half of the season storylines. And before the podcast began, we were looking at the Brewers' resume. Cody, what did you find?
The fact that they are not the fact that they've won 11 straight, but what did we say, 35-12?
35
Um,
and 12 since May
since that,
24th.
yeah, it's remarkable what they're doing. You take a look at All Star, or not only post All Star break, but what they were doing beforehand. 6 of those 11 wins are against the Dodgers. So it's like they're not beating up on
Correct.
they're not beating up on like the A's, the Rockies, the low life. They are doing this again now. 3 of them are against the Nationals, sure, and then they beat on Monday night. They beat the Mariners, but it's like it's when you sweep the Dodgers twice, you're doing in a span of 2.5 weeks. You're doing something right.
I don't care who it's against if you're
Yeah,
35 and 12.
yeah, and that's I think that's the bigger picture is
And Paul, the Cubs really haven't done anything to lose the division lead. They've been playing pretty well too.
No, they have to be feeling the deja vu from last year with the Brewers surprising people. And this Woodruff coming back, the way he's come back is amazing. Pitching is so hard, and some of these guys, it's just they come back and you think, well, that's going to take a while, but boom.
Because a lot of pitching is smarts. And if you know how to pitch, you know how to pitch. The guys who depend on power, that's going to come and go. The guys who really know how to pitch, they're always going to
yeah.
have it, it seems.
And meanwhile, Justin Verlander is 0-8.
Time to retire, Justin.
Did you see the Royals are, is it the Royals? I think it is, yes. Bringing Rich Hill in to pitch,
Yes.
45-year-old Rich Hill.
Yes. Almost my
That's,
age.
that shows you how pitching is in demand.
Well, and I'm using the joke that he just wanted to tie Edwin Jackson's record of playing for his 14th Major League Baseball team.
Is that how many?
Yes.
14.
Yep. He has been with when he since he got called up. He has now been on 14 Major League teams in his career, tying Edwin Jackson for the most teams played for in baseball history.
Wow. And Paul, your Blue Jays.
Yes, those are the. If it weren't for the Brewers, I guess the Blue
Right.
Jays would be the story. Yeah, we've. I've been even when the Yankees were 7 games up. Of course, I thought the Rays would be with them too, but yeah, that's going to be an interesting division. But it looks like the Blue Jays would be definite favorites right now.
I'm just saying, we need to bring back Will because he was dead wrong on that prediction.
Yes, he
So
was. We'll bring back Will next week. He said that was over. He said that division was over, and I agreed with him, by the way.
I mean, I was kind of in agreement too. I didn't see Toronto kind of
Didn't think they had the
make it.
pitching.
No, I really didn't.
The Yankees still have an 80, outscored the Blue Jays by 80 runs this year in differential. So it seems like the Yankees, to me, are still the better team, but the Blue Jays lately have been proving me wrong. And that offense,
They can hit the ball, can't they?
they can hit the ball.
They can hit the crap out of the ball. I mean, what George Springer has been doing as of late, he had that run. I think it was right before. Yeah, it was definitely right before the All Star break, where he had like, oh god, I can't even remember, but might have had a 2 or 3 home run game, then had a 2 home run game the next day. I don't think the kid ages, or I don't think he ages hardly at all. I mean, he doesn't have the power numbers aren't there, but when he's hitting 280 on the year, which that's a very much improvement for him. He's always been the 30 home run, 100 RBI guy, but he's kind of typically been, I think, in the 250 range. And now he's starting to, I mean, Bo Bichette is starting to show what he can do too. When you got a lineup like that, it's it's going to be pretty. I mean, Alejandro Kirk, who is probably the shortest catcher in Major League Baseball, it stands a. Oh, let's see here. I'm as tall as he is at 5'8", but when he's batting 309,
It's on my driver's license that I'm as tall as he is.
yeah, it's it
He's
that the
clutch too. He
yeah.
I've seen many situations where that's just the guy you'd want to have up there.
Uh-huh.
The Blue Jays have the ability to turn the American League East into the same race as the Central and the West. Like we might not have any division runs in September. Races will be in the National League, maybe.
But every team, for all the way down to Minnesota in the standings, is in the wild card race, and heck, the Orioles might be in it too. In the wild card race at this point, they're only 8.5 back. That's a lot of games
They've
passed, but they've been playing awfully well.
they have turned it around. I mean, with as god awful as they started the year, I mean, credit to the. I mean, you're still 44-55 on the year, but you've they've seemed to figure some things out, and it's not going to get you anywhere. I don't think this year,
No, doesn't look like
but
it.
it's that's a young team that I'm I'm still very high on, and I think they went through some growing pains this year, probably as a young team, but that's a team that I think is going to contend for. I think one day they might break through for World Series with all the talent they got on that roster.
It sure
I
looked
just
like it was headed in that direction early this season. Kind of made you wonder, but yeah,
yeah,
that division's interesting for sure.
I'm not going to rule out the
No gimmies
Yankees.
in that one.
No, I'm not ruling out the Yankees. The Red Sox are I think might just hang around. I'm not going to put money on them, but I think it eventually comes down to Toronto and the Yankees in that division. I mean, but Boston's going to be right there, probably fighting for a wild card spot. I think they actually I've got it pulled up right here. Yeah,
If
they are.
if it
They
started
are the
today,
third wild card spot.
they would be a wild card team.
Yeah, they then Tampa's a game and a half out. That at least could very well have all 3 wild card spots, maybe if things kind of shape with the Yankees,
Yeah,
the
look,
Rays, and the Red Sox, and whoever wins the division.
So, in other words, a mediocre team is definitely going to make the playoffs.
no question about that. No
Yeah.
question about that. When you go to 6 teams in each league, that's gonna happen.
Well, I guess we can all appreciate the Dodgers trying to make a third interesting division race in the National League.
They have been,
Anytime.
but the Padres are not playing along.
No, and the
No, they're not.
Giants are really falling off.
Yeah, the Padres have made up 4 games in the last 2 weeks, but they're not play. They're not as good as Will had predicted either. I don't believe. In fact, 2 days ago, the Cubs had the best record in all of baseball, and now the Brewers do. Brewers have a half-game lead on the Tigers for the best record in baseball.
Because the Tigers have played one more game.
That is correct.
But yeah, I know that's how
Because they
that
have one
falls.
more loss. Well, we
Yeah.
need to talk about the National League East for sure. Speaking of teams that just don't want to pull away in the division, I thought for sure the Phillies were headed to a rout in that division, and the Mets are still only a half game back.
It's what frustrates me the most about this season for the Braves is that no team is. I mean, the Phillies, they've got great pitching. They do, but that offense is just every now and then it'll show up. But the Phillies need to be pulling away because the Mets aren't doing anything spectacular, and then that's a it's a 2-team race in that division because the rest of the division is atrocious right now. It pains me that both of those are that the Braves are having the year they are, and the Phillies and Mets are kind of just mediocre along with no one's pulling away.
Did you see how the Phillies won yesterday?
Oh my
Yes,
God.
you directed us to that by a text, and that was pretty wild. You don't see that often.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. In fact, it was even hard to fault the Boston catcher because that pitch was he hit that glove anyway. It was quite unusual.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, catcher's interference, walk off, a very rarity.
Hadn't
And
happened in like almost 80 years or something. Did I see that?
54 years, and I was
54
shocked.
years.
I was shocked that in 1971 it happened.
Like you said, Paul, you can't really. The Red Sox catcher, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just by the letter of the law, that is catcher's interference, even though it was on a check swing,
Correct.
too. And that's kind of what, but by the letter of the law, I mean, it's catcher's interference. I saw the video on, social media last night. I was like, oh my God.
every time I see a catcher's interference, I think of you, Paul. On Halloween 1981, I visited you in Fairfax, Virginia, and you asked me, what are the 9 ways you can get on base in baseball? And that's one of the ones that I did not come up with when I was 8 years old. I don't think I definitely had never seen it at any
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. Crazy. And
Wow.
there's been more this year than I can
They
remember
have.
before.
Going back to the Phillies just for a second, they dating back to their post All Star, or sorry, pre All Star break, have lost. They lost the series to the Giants, lost the series to the Padres, and then have lost the series to the Angels, and before just winning against the Reds. So yeah, they've lost coming into this Red Sox series, lost 3 straight series. They're not playing real well. You lose 3-1, 4-3 to the Giants, then beat them 13-0. So the offense finally shows up. You lose 4-2 to the Padres, 5-4, and you only beat them 2-1. Then the Angels, you lose 6-5 and 8-2. So it's overall the consistency of that offense is not really just showing up.
All right, guys, before we go, we got to talk about the Q rating of a guy who is at least, anybody who don't know what Q rating is, it's what people think of you nationwide, worldwide, how recognizable you are by the general public. And Cal Raleigh in the last week I've never seen a jump so high because of his nickname. Now everybody in the world knows who he is all of a sudden after a home run derby because, man, what a great nickname that is.
Circling back to the All-Star game and the home run derby, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but there was controversy when him and Brett Rooker tied. And then they went to the furthest distance, and both had hit their furthest home run like, oh, 400 and whatever feet. So they had, but Cal Raleigh's went like an inch further. They measured it out to like the nearest tenth of an inch, which that caused some people to be like, is that, was it rigged, or how did they actually measure that? Or I was seeing people debate that on Twitter, but I'm telling you right now, and I saw people have been debating this left and right. I would take Cal Raleigh right now over Aaron Judge for AL MVP. That I will defend that. I think I've said it a couple times when we've recorded. He
Yes, you have.
is he is having the best offensive season by a catcher we have ever seen so far. And now the big question is, since he plays catcher, can he keep it up? Is he gonna? I mean, is fatigue gonna set in? No, because catchers always have that. You have to get down in the stands, legs get tired, all that jazz.
I think it's Judge.
Catchers,
Cody is so rarely wrong that I hate to point out to him that he just stepped in it there.
By the way, speaking of which, MVP odds, Aaron Judge is, you lose money betting on him. Cal Raleigh is 4-1, and then the next odds are Jose Ramirez 75-1. So that is a
that's
two-man
why I would
race.
bet money on Cal Raleigh.
It is impressive as a catcher to do as well as he's doing. In August and September, he might take a big dump.
Nice.
Thank you.
Otani is clearly the MVP favorite, even more than Judge in the AL. But Pete Crow Armstrong making his case, isn't he?
It's a popularity contest, and it's hard to not give it to Shohei. But I'm kind of like I am in the AL. I mean, what PCA has been doing for the Cubs, and how I like to, it's most valuable. It's not best player, and that's the issue I've always had with MVP awards in every sport. If you take PCA off the Cubs, where are they? I mean, and you take, don't get me wrong, you take Shohei off the Dodgers, they're still a playoff team. By far and away. They're
They're
still a
still
playoff
one of
team.
the favorites if you take them
Yeah,
off.
exactly. So that's, I know it's probably gonna be Shohei, but I would cast my vote for PCA.
Thanks so much to Cody and Paul for joining me and talking some baseball every week. One of my favorite segments of the week. And thank you so much for listening. We will have a regular time for the MLB report coming up pretty soon. Until then, just expect one every week. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.